Welcome back to another Disney vlog, and today we're going to take a look at days 3 and 4, aka Epcot and Animal Kingdom. Now, before we go any further, if you've missed the previous vlogs, don't worry, I will link them down below and they will all be together. So far, we've been to Magic Kingdom and we've been to Hollywood Studios, but now it's time for Epcot. And as we boarded the Skyliners, we could start to see Epcot. We could see the little Eiffel Tower, we could see the big ball, we could see so much. We weren't too sure what to expect with this park, as lots of people online had their different opinions about how it's not necessarily as special or as magical as some of the other parks. It didn't have the magic of Magic Kingdom, it didn't have as many rides as some of the other parks. So we weren't really too sure, but we kept an open mind. And I'm so glad we did, because it was really something special. It was actually one of our favourite parks. I would say top 2. It was a real dark horse in the competition. It was probably, I would say, more of an adult park than anything else, and I would imagine if you have young children, it would still be good. You've got things like the Frozen ride, Journey into Imagination with Figment, and things like that. There's lots to experience with kids as well, but I think this was really something magical if you're slightly older, which obviously we're an adult couple going to Disney for the first time. Wandering around the different pavilions, trying delicious cheeses from all around the world, with the sun shining down, was just something else. Not only that, but Mark had been up bright and early to make sure that he secured virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Now, he booked this at 7 o'clock on the dot, and the first group he got, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it suggested that the wait time was probably going to be maybe like 11 o'clock or something, at which point obviously it was 7 in the morning. The park didn't actually open until 9, I believe. However, we then got a notification at about 8 o'clock saying that your ride time is going to be available in about 10 minutes. To which we were a little bit surprised. We were not ready by any means. I hadn't even started my makeup. We'd actually planned on having quite a leisurely morning on this day, so it was quite a rude awakening. But don't worry, don't panic if this happens to you. This is apparently a very common thing. Don't worry. But we rushed to the parks. We ran and we got on onto the Skyliner. We literally ran over to it. We were sweating and it was still very early on in the morning. The park hadn't even opened yet, but we were rushing over there. And then by the time we got there, this was our first experience of Epcot, and it was a whirlwind. Normally you'd stop, you'd walk, you'd take it all in. But no, here's us literally running through Epcot going, oh look, there's the big ball that everyone talks about. Oh, there's the France pavilion over there, while we're just legging it through the park, frantically asking cast members, where is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind? We've got a virtual queue in like 5 minutes and we need to go. And the cast member, very lovely, but decided to give us a bit of a rundown of the entire park, and we're like, no, we just need to get there immediately. Obviously thinking that we were going to lose our slot because you get an hour's slot. We eventually get there. I don't think we had much longer left of the reservation, so we were quite panicked, but we scanned in and we went on Guardians of the Galaxy. And I will get to that in a second because it's incredible. But I have since learned that they tend to give you an earlier slot, but you can actually come back at any time during the day if you've got a virtual queue. So say your slot is between, you know, your group 16 and it's between 10 and 11. It starts at 10, but you can actually go in later in the day. Now, don't hold me to this in case you end up getting in trouble, but I've heard from a lot of people that this is the case. So we didn't actually need to worry. But also, we had no wait time. We were straight on the ride. Like, we went in and there was no wait time. And I've seen a lot of people have to wait in a queue once they go through that. I don't know how, but somehow every single time that we went on Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind on this trip, there was no wait time. We walked straight on. It was incredible. And the ride itself, oh my goodness. If you've ever been on Crush's Coaster in Disneyland Paris, it's similar to that, but just bigger and better, and the music is incredible. You can get different types of songs. I think they have, is it 6 different types of songs that you could possibly get on there? So it makes you want to replay, makes you want to go on it again and again. And it's such a phenomenal ride. As someone who's actually not really into Marvel, I don't know much about it, I thought it was incredible. It kind of reminds me of, what's the ride they used to have in Disneyland Paris? Starts with a C. Armageddon. Was it Armageddon? That does not start with a C, but I think it was Armageddon. Yes, Armageddon. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the old Armageddon ride in Disneyland Paris, which brings me back so much nostalgia because that was one of my dad's favorite rides and we would go on that every time we went to Disneyland Paris. I'm not going to give any spoilers to the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but it's really, truly something special.
What? Someone needs to tell me when I'm on. Welcome, Epcot Terrace.
You go backwards, you go forwards, you spin round. It's just phenomenal. And I didn't get any motion sickness or anything like that. I know some people have had it, but truly I didn't get anything at all. And I do get car sick, I do get train sick if I'm going backwards, but I was absolutely fine. So don't panic too much. When we came out of Guardians of the Galaxy, we could not believe how incredible it was. It was just unbelievable. What an experience. We were just breathtaking. We were so amazed, and we just stood there for a moment just going, wow, that was amazing. That was incredible. That was so good. You know, that kind of excitement. It was so good. By this point, the sun had gotten so much warmer, and we started reapplying our sun cream as frantically as we could because we didn't want to get burnt. And we thought, what else do we do today? I don't know. We've lost our minds because of how good that ride was, and we want to go on it again, but you can't go on it again unless you buy a lightning lane, which we didn't do. You can't just ride it normally, you can't get in the queue. So one thing I will say to you if you're going to Walt Disney World is learn about the lightning lanes. Get it all set up before 7 o'clock, because trust me, there were so many people that we met on that trip who said, oh really, that ride looks really good. Yeah, we'll go and queue up. And we told them, no, you can't queue up, you have to do it online. And they just didn't understand, they didn't get it. And they probably didn't experience the ride at all because they didn't understand how to book it. So get familiar with the app. The virtual queue is free, but you do have to be on it so fast. Like within the first 30 seconds that it opens, you need to be on it. Otherwise, you're going to really struggle. They do open it again at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. But just, I would urge you to try and get one really early in the morning, because we had so much fun doing it super early. And it's a great way to start the day. Great way to start the day. After this, it was time to go and get some food because we were starving hungry, and I had heard some great things about the Epcot Food and Wine Festival. This was early September, and we were very excited. I had and still have a whole book which is filled with different things that I can eat around the parks. Once again, if you didn't know before, I'm gluten-free, I'm celiac, and you don't get that many foods in the UK that are magical and gluten-free. And in Walt Disney World, it was like I was a kid in a candy store. I could eat pretty much anything. It was incredible. It was so good. Now, I had already written down that there was something called Brazilian cheese bread, also known as pão de queijo. So that was our first port of call.
Yes.
Oh my God. There. And oh my God, it was the best thing I had ever tasted. It was, if you think of gluten-free bread, it's nothing like it at all. It was not crumbly. It was stretchy. It was warm. It was cheesy. It was delicious. It was so good. And I could have eaten 10 of them in that one sitting. It was so good. And we went back and bought, over the course of the 2 weeks, we probably bought at least 10 sets of powder queijo. I loved it. So good, 10 out of 10. Mark also thought it was really good, but he was like, as someone who's not a celiac, he was like, yeah, it is really good, but like, I'm not as fussed as you are. So it was still good, but for me, oh my God, incredible, life-changing, game-changing, world-shattering, so good. They also had Remy's, was it Remy? Was it Remy? Which rat was it? Emil's cheese montage, I believe it was called, where you go around and you get 5 different cheese dishes from around the world from this list, and then if you get that, you can go and get a 6th cheese dessert. Now, this 6th cheese dessert is not gluten-free. However, it comes in a cup that you can keep. It is only a plastic cup, and unfortunately, those beautiful little plastic cups have met their fate in the dishwasher. Mark wasn't thinking one day, and he was just filling up the dishwasher mindlessly, put them in. Oh no, they're destroyed. I really want to get another one. But anyway, besides the point, we actually ended up completing the cheese montage 2 times? 2 times in the whole of this, which is a lot of cheese. But frankly, if you're going to buy those dishes anyway, it's just a free extra little thing. So you don't pay for it. Great, love it. Other than the dishes, you obviously pay for the dishes. One of the other items that was on the cheese montage was the Greek cheese. It came with pistachios and honey, and it was absolutely delicious. Again, we went and got this a few times when we were there. It was really good, and I definitely would recommend if you get the chance to have this. We stayed in Epcot until about 2 o'clock, at which point the temperature was way too hot and I needed to go and do a stream. But by that point, we'd been on a few different rides, we'd had an amazing time, and we'd eaten so much food. So it was back to the hotel, and then it was time to stream. The next day, it was time for Animal Kingdom. Now, again, I'd heard so many good things about Animal Kingdom. Everyone was saying it was their favorite park, so I had high expectations, but equally, I'm not really one for like safaris or zoos or things like that. For some reason, it doesn't really interest me that much, to be totally honest with you, but I was still super excited, so we headed off to Animal Kingdom via bus. One of the first things we were booked in to do in Animal Kingdom was the safari. And when I say booked in, it was through the Disability Access Service, so you do get to book in 2 rides before you go. Phenomenal, so great if you get the chance to do that. That is absolutely great. It's a nice little perk if you are someone that unfortunately struggles with a disability. I've heard some people say that the safari is better in the morning and some better than in the middle of the day, in the evening. You'll see different animals at different times, and in the darkness I know it's a little bit harder to see. So we wanted to do it first thing in the morning, hopefully before it got a little bit too hot and the animals would still be about. And we saw so many animals. We saw everything from elephants to flamingos to zebras. The safari was really fun and I did enjoy it. Animal Kingdom definitely feels like another world. I think one of the magical things with Walt Disney World is every park truly does feel like you've gone to another planet. People have said online that it does feel like it's hotter when you're over there because of the different props around you, the different environmental things that make it feel like it's hotter. And trust me, when you are in the absolute inferno that is September humidity in Orlando, it actually definitely does feel hotter when you're in Animal Kingdom. It's very strange, but it does. It felt so hot that it was kind of unbreathable on this day. It was so incredibly spicy hot. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. One of the main reasons I wanted to go to Animal Kingdom is because that is the only place on Disney property that you can get fresh, gluten-free churros.
Salted caramel.
Get stuck in.
I wasn't expecting that.
Tasty? Don't. You got dips. Huge dips.
Just want to taste what it was. Oh yeah.
Yeah?
They're like cinnamony, sugary. So good, crunchy.
Oh, I've got my own.
Now, let me tell you, I had waited 27 years to have churros. I promise you, I have gone to Spain, I've gone to Italy, I've gone all around the world to try and get churros, and every time it's been unsuccessful. All of my adventures have failed. So this quest was not going to fail me. I had heard so many rumors about how incredible these churros were and how they are naturally gluten-free. Oh my God. They were freshly made. They were so good. We got them from Nomad Lounge, and also you don't need a reservation. You can just go in there and say, hi, can I just get some churros to go? And you can bypass the queues, you can bypass the restaurant, and you can get the churros to go. It came with 2 sauces. I think one was vanilla and then one was like a coffee sauce. Either way, delicious. They were so good. They were crunchy. They were divine. They were amazing. And if you're gluten-free, if you're a gluten-free person, if you're a celiac, you should definitely go. The people there were also really nice. I think they were a little bit pricey. I seem to remember them being about $9 each. And we of course got 2 packs because I was not sharing. I've waited 27 years for this. I'm not sharing a single churro. Sorry, but no. Now, if you ask me, $9 is absolutely nothing to pay for gluten-free churros because, as I said, I've gone all around the world searching for these. If you told me they were $40, I'd probably still buy them. Maybe not as many, but I probably would still buy them. Then it was on to the world of Pandora, where we had our next ride. There's 2 rides in Pandora. We have Na'vi River Journey and we have Avatar Flight of Passage. First up, we went on the River Journey and it wasn't bad, but it really wasn't very memorable. It was quite slow. It's a slow water ride. I'm sure it's great if you have young kids. It was quite pretty, but honestly, nothing too amazing. I wouldn't queue up for too long for that. I think it's probably a 2 out of 5, if you ask me. It was okay. And then we had Avatar Flight of Passage, which was a super, super cool idea and incredible the way that it is made. When you're actually on the ride itself, if you look around, you can see the different units of people who are also on the ride experiencing different angles of the same thing. The way it's made, incredible. Super, super, super cool. And I would definitely do that again. However, I will say the lead up to the ride, where you end up having to go through all of the different things and hearing all the safety briefings again and again, and it's like all of the different screens and things. I actually didn't find that very exciting, to be honest. I feel like in some rides, say like Guardians, it's really exciting, it's really thrilling, it's all encompassing, it's super cool, and I would go through that again and again to get to that ride. However, when it came to Flight of Passage, it actually felt a little bit boring. So when we were doing that a couple of times, I was like, oh, this again. And we'd only done it like a couple of times, but we were a bit like, can we be bothered to do Flight of Passage again and go through all of the gumph beforehand? I feel like that could have been a little bit more exciting, but maybe that's just me. We then had the famous Night Blossom drink. Now, we almost bought 2 of these, one for each of us, and I'm so glad that I insisted we only get one to share and then get another one afterwards if we wanted it, because this was so unbelievably sweet. Now, I know what the flavour is here. It's pear. It tastes like pear. It's like a really sweet pear, and it's got these little boba balls in it. Really tasty, but my goodness me, I could not finish one of those alone. It was kind of like a pear slushy, really nice, but yeah, definitely one to share, absolutely fine. Next up was Kali River Rapids. Now, I thought I'd come fairly prepared. I was wearing a light dress that could dry easily, and we were in unbelievable Florida heat. So getting onto this, I thought it'd be okay. But you know when you sit down onto an already soaking wet chair, which has got a puddle this deep? Yeah, and you go, oh no, what have I done? What have I got myself in for? Yeah, Kali River Rapids, it's wet. It is a very wet ride, and I think it would be so brilliant if that was in a water park. If that was in one of the Disney water parks where you're already in a bikini, oh my god, amazing. I would go again and again and again. But my god, it didn't feel like there was too much theming to the ride. It was kind of just, once you'd gone past the waiting area, the queue, it was just, you're on there, you get wet, and that's that. Like, it was good, but I got drenched. Like, drenched to my underwear. Drenched. It was good, but again, I would give that one a miss next time, I think. Now, it was hurricane season, and by this point in the day, we looked up and the clouds were telling us that it was time to go. So we'd had our fill. We'd done a few things. We'd seen some monkeys, which was really cool. We saw a bunch of different animals, and we'd had some tasty food. So it was time to head back on a bus to Pop Century. After we had dried off and the weather had lightened up ever so slightly, we decided we were going to go back to Magic Kingdom again to spend the evening. It's one of my favourite things when you can park hop halfway through the day once you've had a shower and you feel fresh. It just feels like you are ready to go again. So we headed to Magic Kingdom and took in the beautiful evening sights.
What?
One thing you don't really see here in the UK is warning signs for alligators and snakes. So that was pretty cool and ever so slightly terrifying. And then we got drenched for the second time in one day because we got a very, very, very heavy storm on us. So much so that we were wearing trainers and we were squelching, but it didn't matter too much. It was too late to put our ponchos on. We were already drenched. It came on like that. It was fine, and then it was just torrential rain. But we ended up going on Phantom Manor, which was really, really good fun. And then when things lightened up just a little bit and the weather decided to be a bit friendlier, we went on Big Thunder Mountain as the fireworks were on, and that was magical. All in all, I would say Epcot was unbelievable. And if I was choosing a park that I wanted to spend my birthday in, for example, I would probably go for Epcot. But Animal Kingdom, it was okay, but I would actually say it was my least favorite of all of the parks by a long way. I felt like it was slightly lacking in terms of the rides that I probably wanted to do. It wasn't until later in the trip that we actually managed to find Expedition Everest, which was really, really good. But we didn't find it on this day for some reason. And we did see a lot of what Animal Kingdom had to offer over the 2 weeks, but it just felt a little bit lacking. Maybe it's more so that I'm just not a big fan of zoos and safaris, but it just didn't really impress us too much. And I think if I were to go there again, I'd probably only spend a half day in Animal Kingdom, as I feel like that's kind of all you really need. Now, I might be wrong and I might be on my own here, so let me know which is your favorite park down below. And if you missed the last video where I got engaged, I will link that over here and down below, so feel free to go and check that out. In the next video, I might take a look at some of the best places to eat gluten-free in Walt Disney World and give you all the tricks and tips, or maybe we'll go through some of the best rides and we'll get Mark here. I don't know, you know what, I'm going to let you guys decide down below. Let me know which one you want. Do you want best gluten-free food, or do you want best rides? Let me know down below, and thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry that I didn't get a video up last week. I actually got a video up on my main channel where I went to a castle for the night, which was amazing. So I'll pop that down below as well in case that's a vlog that you want to watch. It was more gaming orientated instead of Disney, so I thought I'd put it on the main channel, but I'll pop it down below just in case you also want to see my mum and I going to Warwick Castle and dressing in medieval attire. If you ever want to find me on the internet, I am on Twitch, I am on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. This channel is purely just for fun. It is my hobby and I love Disney. It brings me so much happiness, so I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, please do subscribe. It honestly means the world, and give this video a thumbs up as well. I would really, really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!